Hello and welcome to Colin Bradley Artcast. I'm Stephen Bradley.
And I'm Colin Bradley.
Welcome everyone to episode 158. If you're joining us live on YouTube, then hello. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. And if you're listening back on iTunes, then thanks also for tuning in. And welcome. It's been a couple of weeks since we announced our Craftsy event, which is coming up on the 10th of September, and it's all getting very real and exciting, isn't it, Dad?
Gosh, it is. We're on a daily schedule now, and I've got things I've got to do, and they're stretched over the next sort of 10 days.
Mm.
I mean, we've got calls to America, 2 or 3 of those to sort out, and there's a lot going on. I'm sure people would realise just how involved this is. It's not as if I'm going up to London and sorting it out. This is you have to put everything together, and they're very professional, Craftsy. They want it to be right. So do we, of course. So a lot of work,
a lot of preparation, and we've had lots of lovely comments and people that have tried Craftsy courses before.
Yes.
And commented on how professional they are, and so they can kind of see the level of effort that goes into what we've got to try and map with our class too.
Oh yeah, well, I'm sure it's going to work out really well. I've got a lot of confidence in what we do, and they wouldn't have asked us if they hadn't really been sure that we've got what they want. And so it's going to be good fun. I'm really enjoying it.
And you'll be the only pastel pencil artist on Craftsy, bringing pastel pencils to the masses.
Absolutely.
I mean, we've done well with our little YouTube channel of nearly 15,000 subscribers, but Craftsy is a next level.
Oh yes, and it's nice for us to break new grounds. I know we've been selling materials, and we're selling our membership all over the world now, and we have a great spread, but there's nothing like going over there to the States and doing something there that's different. It's something, I don't know what it is, whenever you used to see the actors and the singers and all going over to America, you think, cool, they must be really excited about that kind of audience, and they usually get on very well, don't they? So I'm sure we will too. I've got a lot of faith in it.
So other than preparing for Craftsy and doing all those bits and bobs, what else have you been up to?
Well, I've just done the most difficult picture that I've done ever for teaching purposes, and it was we knew it was going to be difficult. I mean, I can tell you about it because we actually outlined it a few weeks ago when we did it was Christine, I think, wanted to do the orangutan, and we were talking about it then, weren't we? And I said that I'd have a go at it, and as soon as I said that, I thought, hang on, do you really want to put your neck in a noose? Because it felt like that. Because that kind of picture is really hard in any medium, Steve. You imagine if you were doing it in oil, or, well, you would never do it in watercolor, but if you did it in oil or acrylic, you wouldn't get the flexibility. I can't, perhaps not the right word, but it's the only word I can describe it is when you have, with our fur that we create and our hair that we create, it almost looks real, doesn't it? Whereas if you have oil or acrylic and it looks a bit man-made, manufactured would be a good word for it. And I thought, this is going to be really hard. And it was. But it came off, and I'm thrilled to bits with it. People will see it eventually. It's going to be a little while. I know we've had a lot of our members, when we say something like this, say, well, where is it then? Where is it? What they forget, of course, is we've got a lineup of about 20 odd pictures, and they've all got to come. And you could say, I want all the 20, please. Well, if you did that, you could do it, Steve, and then they wouldn't get anything for a year, and that wouldn't work either. So the way we do it now is perfect, but I think it's nice just to explain some of the problems that we have here. Well, not problems, things we have to overcome here. And in artwork, you know me and my challenges, I love them. And by golly, that was a challenge, that one. But you are going to get it. You are going to get it. We don't know when, but you will get it, as with all the other great pictures we've got coming up. It would be unfair anyway to put one of those in front, because the ones that are already there, which are good ones, are going to be pushed to the back.
Yeah.
So I think we've got to do them in the order that we've got them. But this was great. So I have, in the last couple of weeks, I've been pretty stretched. And interestingly enough, everybody in the UK will know that we've had some great weather, fantastic weather, and it's still around. And I had to do that in this weather. Now, let me explain to you. I have to close the window, because otherwise you've got traffic noise all over the place and it would spoil it. I can't have a fan on, because if I have, you'll hear it through the mics. And I have to close the door. So I'm in a little cocoon there. Now, can you imagine in this heat what it was like?
Yeah.
And I felt as though I was in the tropics, actually. So maybe that's why it came off.
You're like a method
orangutan.
You're like a method artist.
Oh,
like
I was, wasn't I?
Yeah.
I was. Yes, you're quite right. I wished I'd have thought of all that. Yes. So I was in the tropics.
Like a method actor would go to the jungle to learn how to be an orangutan.
That's right. Yeah,
you emulated the conditions.
I created the same conditions. That's right.
But
I didn't do it willingly, I tell you, and I won't do it again if I can help it either. But I had to do it in little stages. You know, I couldn't do it all in one go. But consequently, it took me quite a long time to actually finish it. But I was thrilled to bits with it, and it's come off brilliantly. So when you see it, folks, you'll go, my goodness me. I've got to tell you, it's a masterclass, though. It's got to be a masterclass because of the degree of difficulty there is with that.
Yeah.
I mean, we do this categorizing for a very good reason. If it's a beginner, then everybody knows that they can do it, whether they're a professional or whatever they are, they can do it, and they do it easily. But it's suitable for beginners. And as we go up the scale, when we get to the masterclass, there's nothing to stop beginners having a go at it. There's nothing to stop intermediate people having a go at it. But they've got to expect, or not to expect, to actually achieve what I do. So this is the difference between the masterclass and maybe an intermediate or a beginner's course. But nonetheless, the important thing is people see how I did it. They see the techniques, and they can take some of those techniques and use them, especially the fur, for their own work and other work, which is the whole idea of what we do here. Exactly.
Well, good. Well, that's going to be exciting when that's released, and it's a good thing to have these testing masterclass pictures. Didn't think we could get more difficult in advance, but we can, and people are still doing them. So that's great.
Yeah, good on them.
So the questions we've got today, well, the main focus we're going to talk about today is going back to that subject that we spoke about before, which is fixing, but we haven't mentioned it in a while. And this question comes from Lorraine. And Lorraine says, "Hi, Colin. Thank you for your wonderful tutorials. I'll be subscribing soon as I think you are an amazing teacher. I want to protect my work, and I wondered if I frame my work, would I still need to fix it?"
Right. The answer is no, you wouldn't, and I wouldn't advise it, and I don't do it myself. So the reason I don't do it, as we've said many times before, it does take the life out of it. If it dulls it down, it makes it look flattish, and you can understand why that is, because you're spraying something onto it, and if you don't fix it, then of course it's a bit vulnerable. But if you put it in a frame or put it in a mount, double mount preferably, and put it in a frame, then you've got no problem at all with it. It'll last forever and ever and ever. One of the good things about pastel pencil is you push it into the paper. It's not laying on the surface.
Mm.
If you were using soft pastel, then a lot of that dust and so on would actually be on the surface of the paper. Therefore, it could drop and it could fall away and it would smudge easier. Whereas with the pastel pencil, because you're pushing it into the paper, you don't get quite such a problem.
Is that with all papers or just the Ingres?
No, with all papers, Steve.
All
Doesn't matter what
papers,
paper you're using.
it can absorb the.
I'm not so sure. I don't have a lot of experience. Well, I don't have any experience with the pastel mat. That kind of paper. No. But I can imagine it's got to be the same. I can't think where it wouldn't be.
Mm. Oh.
So fixing, yes, it's a sore point. But when I used to do it years ago with the Swan Stabilo Carbothello pencil, that was a bit duller than the Faber-Castell. It wasn't as bright. The pigment was, less intense. So what you had to do with that is to do the work, spray it with fixative, and then put another coat on.
Right, so to get the vibrancy back.
Yes, to get the vibrancy back. And it worked very well for a while, but I was never really happy with it. I'd always felt that once you sprayed it, you kind of lost something. And but the way we do it now, nothing's lost. It's original and fresh, and it stays that way. So the answer is yes, you'll be fine with spraying. That's not spraying, framing, and not spraying. I wouldn't spray anyway. We've had a few people actually talking about that recently, and I'm glad you brought it up. It's still. I mean, we've got people coming into the fold all the time, haven't we? So they haven't heard the previous discussions on this.
Yeah, so the previous 157 podcasts of us talking about it. They've not heard those yet.
No, we've got quite a few where we were, but it's still not a bad idea to remind people.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, if anyone's tuning into this podcast for the first time and they've got a lot of questions, then if you've got the time, if you feel like listening to a lot of us, then obviously all the previous podcasts have got an absolute ton of information in them, the things that we've talked about over the years. Okay, thanks, Lorraine. It's a good question, and I hope we've helped there. Another question we've had here from YouTube is from Fabian. What type of pencil do you use to do the first lines before you start to use the pastel pencils? I mean, what pencil do you use for sketching?
Right, yes. This is a good question, because as people know that I use square drawing. When I'm setting a picture out, I use square drawing, but I only use it really on the outside lines or just to get the proportions in. A lot of it, once I've done that drawing, then it's transferred through Transtrace. Usually I just
trace down.
Yeah, we used to have a thing called Trace Down, and it's still in my blooming mind.
Transtrace.
Trace Down. That's our product. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so you get but I don't do a very strong impression. I keep it fairly light, because what I like to do is then go back over the picture before I start my pastel work and use a pencil to add detail, refine it, put my own little stamp in, do my own little thing, really. And I love doing that because I've got the proportions there, so now I can play with it a little bit. Now, the best pencil then to use would be either an HB or an F. Now, if you can't find an F, which is not easy to find now, then the HB would be fine. I don't think I would go any harder than an HB. 2B, 3B, 4B, and 2H, 3H, 4H. Those are very hard pencil, and you'd have to press hard then to create a mark on the paper. And if you did that, you're pressing into the paper and you're actually going to do more harm than good. So I use an F pencil or an HB pencil if I'm going to use pastel on top. Now, if I was doing a drawing, I would use a B or a 2B.
Mm.
But a 2B and a B and a 2B is slightly softer. Now the risk then, once you start putting pastel on, say you would put a white or an ivory on top of that, you could smudge it. It would
Mm.
actually smudge in. So that's something that I would avoid. So the answer really to the question is F or HB would be the pencil I would use prior to applying pastel pencil.
It's because it's a good in between. It's not too
Mm,
hard and not too soft, so
that's right.
it's not going to smudge, but it's also going to give you a firm enough
Mark.
outline.
Gives you a mark. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Stick to those two pencils. Either or, it doesn't really make a lot of difference. But as soon as you get down the Bs, then you've got a problem, or you could have. And it's all right if we're using graphite. As you know, they look really great. And I use a lot of B, 4B, 8B when I use graphite pencils, but I'm not putting pastel on top of it.
Yeah, yeah. It's dependent on the effect that you want to achieve.
Mm, mm.
In this instance, Fabian was talking about pastel pencils, so there you go. There's the answer.
That's the answer. HB
Mm.
is safe. F
Mm.
is also safe, but not easy to find.
Mm. Well, if anyone wants to have an easy option, then they're available on our store. We sell them in a set. So if you're looking to get hold of those pencils and the square drawing grids, then they're on our art store.
Mm.
The next question comes from Sarah. Can you do pastels on canvas over an oil painting or acrylic painting for highlighting?
Yes and no.
Yes
No
and no.
to oil. Yes to acrylic.
Why not? I mean, I don't think we've ever had this question before.
No.
But what
Also, you
about?
could add one more question. Would Colin do it? The answer to that would be no, I wouldn't.
So why not oil?
Oh, well, it's a completely different consistency, Steve. I mean, if you let the oil dry completely, and bear in mind, I know you've got fast drying oils nowadays, and maybe you could do it with that, but I really can't see any point to it, to be honest. I mean, it would lay on the surface where oil it dries. It's foreign to it. So I wouldn't use it with oil, definitely not. But as far as acrylic is concerned, I did know somebody many years ago who told me he used to, and he's a professional artist. He said he uses pastel pencils on top of his acrylic.
Right.
But would I do it? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Why would you want to do it? I can't see any benefit at all in that.
Well, aren't acrylics more vibrant than pastel? So
Well, they
wouldn't.
dry out, Steve. You see that if once you put acrylic on, it dries. That's it. You've got a surface which you could use a pastel on top of it.
Mm.
As I said, I wouldn't do it. I'm not recommending that one little bit. I'd much prefer to use it on top of watercolor, which you know I do and have done successfully.
Mm. Is
Because
it because it's a thicker medium?
Eh?
They're thicker as well, aren't they? Like a wash, a watercolor
Yes,
is a wash. So
absolutely. A wash and it stains the paper rather than acrylic, which lays on the paper like
yeah,
oil.
yeah. It wouldn't have
Sometimes.
anything to grip to either, would it? Really?
No, Steve, it wouldn't. I have to say, I cannot see any reason why you would want to do that.
Okay. Well, it's a good question because I would
Oh,
never have
yeah.
even thought of that. So
Well, unless you know, I mean, I know what I can do or can't do with a pastel pencil, and you can't do that.
mm,
You can't, a lot of people use pastel pencils to enhance or create detail with their soft pastel work.
mm,
I wouldn't do that either, but a lot of people are successful in it, and especially if you were a portrait artist and you wanted some very fine detail, it's very hard to get soft pastel sharp, with
mm,
fine detail,
mm.
a light in an eye, for instance, without it making a bit of a blob. Whereas pastel pencil works very well. So there are artists, lots and lots of artists who do use them for
Okay.
that, and that's probably the best way of using them if you were going to use them with another medium.
Okay. Interesting. Oh, really, really good. Okay, thanks, Sarah, for that question. That's all the questions I've got down on my notes. I did want to mention we've got a new project. Literally, I've finished uploading it well, just before we went live with this show, which is the beach sunset, and it's a beginner's subject that is, or it was a starter pack, wasn't it? I think
It was, yes, it
that
was.
pack is in our membership, but
Yeah, they could pick it up there, but the reason we've done it, Steve, is it was never on video. It was only just on paper, wasn't it?
yeah.
And
So what was it like redoing this picture? Because obviously you did that starter pack 20 odd years ago, maybe, I don't know.
yes.
What was it like redoing that?
Oh well, it as I said, I never did it as a class picture. It was done, narrate less, no narration, just me doing it, and then telling people about it on the notes. But doing it again, well, I have altered it. Anybody who has got one of those pictures and looks at it and looks at the new one will see a slight difference. The island's moved over a little bit.
Right.
And I changed it very slightly. Not much, but a little. It got all the ingredients there, but it was just a little bit. I just wanted to make it a little bit simplified, more simplified.
Mm.
But it's a lovely picture, and it's a good beginner's picture too. It's the same, very similar anyway to the other sunset we did, which has been amazingly successful on YouTube.
Mm.
And
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it is similar.
it's the same kind of idea, but
A bit
this
more
was
detail in this one, isn't there?
Oh, there is, yeah, a little bit more detail. Funny enough, I'm sure if we've got a bit of time, I can tell you originally, right at the very, very beginning, when I did those two, it was a two, wasn't it? There was a sunset and then there was a beach scene. So one was
Yes,
in
the
the
same
sunset.
picture, but in sunlight, and yeah.
Well, I don't think you ever knew this, but when I did the original picture of that, just the beach, not the sunset bit, the beach bit, I put a little man in his cut down jeans, and he didn't have any shirt on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did, and and I put him in. He was actually in the picture originally, and when I finished it and I looked at it, I thought, oh, no, I don't like that at all. That looks really. He was walking towards that boat.
Yeah.
So I rubbed him out.
Oh.
One of the great benefits of the pastel pencil. So he is there somewhere, folks. If you ever looked at that picture, but you won't find him.
Yeah.
Appeared.
That's
but it's interesting how you bring back the memories.
Why did you take him out? Is it because there would be too much interest in the picture? It was taking away from it.
Why did I do? I think it spoiled the overall peacefulness of the scene.
Mm.
It kind of didn't work. Sometimes they do. Sometimes pictures don't work. And you don't know why they don't work, but they don't work. And that didn't work. So it went. It didn't make any difference because that was a very, very good seller, that particular pack. We've sold a great many of them.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a good idea, Steve, when we were talking about this to bring it out again. We wanted another sunset anyway. People love them anyway, don't they? So
yeah. And how was it using the color shapers with this one? Because obviously you didn't have those but when you did it originally.
No, we didn't.
How much easier was it with them?
Much easier, yes. As I said many, many times. Because what I would have had to do then is use another pencil to blend it in. That's what I did. The only blending I could do was with another pencil, put the color on and then put another color over the top of it to blend it. But the color shapers have changed it all. Amazing. But it was nice to do, and I'm sure people will like it. And it's worth giving it a go. The thing is, although it's a beginner's picture, if an experienced artist had a go, he's going to make a better job of it, isn't he? Do you know?
Yeah.
You could still do the beginner's pictures. You'll just do them perhaps a little bit better than someone without the experience.
Excellent. So that picture is up for landscape and all-in members of our website, but you can also grab the course individually by itself for $6.99. And again, you'll find that link on our website as well. If you go to the shop page and look at the individual courses, you'll see it there. We've got a project that's going to kick off September, I will save that for when we talk next. But in 2 weeks' time, we'll actually be in America. So I don't quite know what we're going to do next time. We'll figure out a way of doing a podcast if we're out there and we're not too tired and in the studio. Then we'll try and see what we can do. I think we said we were going to try and do a Facebook Live from there.
Yeah.
To show people around. I'll have internet access, so walk the streets of Denver with us as we go to the craftsy offices. Yeah, so we'll see we'll have some fun. There may be a few little live streams going on out there if we can.
Well, we'll see what we can do. So there may not be a podcast as such then that week.
No, we may have to record one when we get back.
That'll be nice anyway.
So
we can tell people all about it then.
Yeah. And next week we'll have the feedback show. So keep your artwork coming in. We've already got submissions for next week's show. And obviously that feedback is given to members of the website. So if you want to benefit from receiving feedback on your artwork, then join our membership. Okay, that's it then for this time. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I'm Stephen Bradley.
And I'm Colin Bradley.
Enjoy your week.